If I've learned anything from my buying and selling crypto habits, it's that I have terrible financial timing. But luckily, I have incredible acoustic guitar and rhythm guitar timing. So we're going to talk about some ways that you can do this, because I've been a professional gigging rhythm guitar player for a while, so I have a lot of tips that kind of help me get better. This is going to be the perfect lesson for someone who's maybe changing chords and it sounds like this. Here's the dirty secret about all of it. If you are playing something in time and you screw it up, nobody will notice. The only time people actually notice your mistakes is if you do something out of time. So it is super, super important. Also, fortuitously, today's video is sponsored by Original Grain, which is why I have some extra bling here. So they sent me this watch. This is really awesome. This is an 18 karat gold Taylor Guitars watch. It's made from reclaimed Taylor guitar Hawaiian koa that has a fall off from the guitar making process. I've actually been to guitar factories and it's kind of crazy how much waste there is. So this is really cool because it saves waste and it's just like such a sick watch that is a perfect gift, perfect for yourself. There's up to $100 off and you get 10% off your order if you use the coupon code Sean at checkout. There will be a link in the description. We'll talk a little bit more about this watch later with some more close-ups. But let's get to the rhythm guitar component of the lesson, all right? So, everybody's first chord progression or strumming pattern is down, 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 up, down, up. We're gonna do something in the key of C. This is our chord. We'll start with regular traditional C major chord, 3rd fret on the A string, middle finger 2nd fret on the D string, open G, pointer finger 1st fret on the B string. Okay? And basically what you're gonna do is you're gonna go down, 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 down. Now when you're first starting out, it's hard enough just to get tone. You might have like a buzzy sound, so it's like you're worried about your fretting hand, you're worried about your strumming hand. We want to put it all together in a way that is accessible and everybody can do, all right? My first tip is to actually play a C major chord like a C/G chord, okay? Now, this has nothing to do with your strumming hand, but now I've got my ring finger on the 3rd fret of the E string, my pinky's right behind it on 3A, and then middle finger 2D, open G, 1B, there. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to add a dynamic where you can get a count into it. If you're just going down and up, you're not really hearing a count, and especially when you're hearing like open strings ring out from this one, if there's buzzing, you can't really internalize that rhythm. So this is the most important thing to do, is internalize the rhythm, all right? Now, I'm a huge hater of just saying downs and ups, right? Numerical counting is the way. So instead of down, 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 up, it's 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. So the numbers are gonna be the downstrokes, and the word and in between those numbers is an upstroke, okay? Now the first thing that we're gonna do is after changing over to the counting, is we're gonna take this chord and we're gonna break it apart into 2 halves, the lower half and the higher half. Now, I'm aiming for the E, A, and D strings when I go for the lower half, and then I'm aiming for the G, B, and E strings when I go for the higher half. Now, you don't have to be that on it, okay? If you hit just one string or whatever, it's just basically hitting the lower part and the higher part. If you get all 3 strings perfectly, great for you. Doesn't really matter. We're just gonna try to separate that chord into 2 parts, all right? So let's hear it just like that. Down, 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 up, wrong. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. So now what I'm doing is I'm going 1, 2. So 1 is the lower strings, 2 is the higher strings, 3 and 4, and. The second half of the bar is going to be a down and an up on a 3 and an and of 3, and then a 4 and an and of 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. Okay? Now you might be asking like, well, how does this help? What you can do is now we actually have a rhythm that we don't get lost in that bar in, right? When you're just going like down and up, there's no start, there's no end. It's just this unstoppable loop of down and up. It's like a beautiful watch that just stops time right in the middle. That doesn't do anybody any good, even though it is super blinged out. And it comes in an awesome case, which I'll show you in a second. But getting that 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you're starting to distinguish where the beginning of a measure or a bar is and the end. And once you have that, then you can start internalizing that rhythm and feel a little bit more, all right? So we call this dynamic strumming, okay? The next thing I want you to try is to actually try to palm mute it, okay? Now what that is you take the side of your hand, you tap the bridge. Now it aggressively mutes the sound of the guitar, so it actually makes it less loud, right? What that does though is it adds more of a percussive style to the playing, and that just reinforces the rhythmic part of it, right? If you just hear like a ta, 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 now you're starting to think like a drummer and you're providing yourself a beat. If everything is ringing out, that's why I like that C/G thing. If you get that rogue low G string ringing out, it's like, even if I'm trying to go the 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I don't hear the percussiveness as much as. And again, you know, palm muting, some people like the sound. I love the sound of palm muting. Some people don't like it. Sometimes they want that big, bright, open, chimey sound. But it's really good just to use palm muting as a technique just to practice to internalize the rhythm, all right? So now we've got one count. I want to do, before we start changing chords, I want to do a totally different time signature. And I think this is actually probably the most important thing that you can do to really shore up your strumming and your timing, is doing something in 3/4. I naturally play everything as a waltz or in 3/4 anyways. All that means is instead of one bar having 4 counts, one bar has 3 counts. So we're going to go 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and, okay? And what that does, it gets us out of the rut of playing in 4/4, and then it's like, okay, now I'm learning other time signatures, I'm internalizing separate rhythms, so I don't get stuck playing that same strumming pattern every time. And then once you can kind of separate time signatures, then you can start manipulating each time signature just because it just works out in your brain that way. So let's do the same thing, C chord, but now we're going 1, 2, and 3, and 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 down. Another great thing to do with this, let's palm mute it, right? So I can speak more clearly. Now, what I want to do next, and this could be a little bit more intermediate advanced, but let's try to even focus the first count, that 1, even shorter. Instead of getting the lower 3 strings, let's try to aim for the A string and the E string alternating, okay? So it'll be like 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and A, 2, and 3, and E, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and 1. So now you have something a little more musical, right? All right, now again, you don't have to palm mute, you can do like the same thing. And then now that you can kind of do that all the other stuff that you do is going to be more on time because you're hearing it. What I just did there, I did a little walking bass line. 3, E, open, A, 2, A, back to C, C, G, 2, and 3, and C, 2, and 3, and G, A, B, C. And what this does, it even takes it one step further. Hearing something musically, because it really resets the strumming of your hand when you go bum, 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 bum. And again, the more you know about scales, the more you can kind of like change those bass lines around and just make it cool stuff, right? The next thing we have to do is change chords. Most songs don't have just one chord. Let's change chords. Let's do something very easy where we can still lock your pointer finger to that first fret on the B string. So let's go A minor, all right? C major to A minor, super common chord progression. You've heard it a million times, right? So all you have to do from this position is keep your pointer finger there and really just swing your ring finger around to 2G, all right? Now the beautiful thing about A minor, now we have the root note A, E. So if you want to practice this first, as far as like maybe being more selective with your picking, this is easier because these are open strings. Open A, A, E. Okay, so I'm gonna play this just back and forth from C to A minor, and I'll tell you more about original grain. C, G, then to A, E, A to E. Did you know that Original Grain has been making watches from unique materials for 11 years now? They just hit their 11th year anniversary. Every watch they sell, they plant a tree. So it's all about sustainability, which is incredible. Love to see it. Veteran and family-owned company, started by two brothers in the Pacific Northwest, which is my absolute favorite type of weather. Did I mention you can get 10% off your order up to $100 at the store? And they don't just have guitar watches, they have like other cool like whiskey barrel watches. They did a Bob Marley run on stuff a few weeks ago. Really awesome company, right? So check it out. Plus it comes in like an incredible box, as you can see here. And it looks and feels great. Keeps perfect time. Lets people know that you're an OG guitar player. Thank you, Original Grain, for sponsoring the video and keeping me iced. All right. So we've got two chords that are simple enough to play. But what if you have to go to something maybe a little more difficult? We could go to the dreaded F major bar chord, right, which everybody hates. Just bar that first fret, third fret on the A string, third fret on the D string, middle finger, second fret on the B string, and then 1-1. Now, I'm a big fan of actually playing it like this, F major 7. We're gonna do this both ways, where if you just take that C/G chord, keep your pointer finger locked in, and then move your other three fingers just down a string. Now you've got F major 7, or just the middle 4 on an F major chord, and it's just as good. I'll just do a quick demonstration of doing a waltz in this way. So C with this alternating bass note, then A minor, 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and F. Now, the great thing was that was super easy because the chords are very simple, but what we've lost is the ability to do the alternating bass note, okay? So the next thing I want to do is talk about if we do have to do a bar chord. Again, if bar chords are difficult for you, don't worry, but sometimes, you know, they're a necessary evil of playing guitar. So if you have to do a bar chord, let's do it like this. So here you go, there's our root note now, F to C. 1 on the E string to 3 on the A string. So this is a great example of when you might need to use a bar chord because you want to keep that alternating bass note thing going. Otherwise, I always advise just use those middle 4 strings, all right? Now, the trickiest thing is switching chords on time, right? As we talked about at the beginning of the video where you're like, So first of all, let's just do, let's go back to that low 1, 2, and 3, and don't worry about the root notes right now. This is more about keeping your rhythm hand going while buying your fretting hand time to switch chords, okay? I think from like C major to A minor, it's really not that difficult of a switch because it's just your ring finger. Again, easier said than done, but it's way easier than going from like an A minor to a F major bar chord, okay? So what I'm gonna do, watch how I do this. 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and 1. We'll do 4 bars of each. Then A, 2, 3, 4. Now you'll notice that when I jump off the chord, I actually hit an open, empty string set while I'm buying my fretting hand time. So I'll do that again between each chord. So 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3. Minor. I'm just switching to different chords. So as you can see, when I'm getting that upstroke on the and of 3, I'm actually leaving the entire fretboard. And again, I'm doing an exaggerated motion of this. But the most important thing is to keep your right hand going, or if your left hand for lefty, no matter what, just keep it going. Even if you totally forget the chords to a song. I've played so many shows where like, I'm playing a song, usually requested I'm kind of dodgy on, I'm not exactly sure what the next chord is. I'll just keep going and maybe like audition things until I find it. And then there it is, all right? So don't worry about having to get perfect tone as long as you stay in time. leave the fretboard, buy your hands some time to get there, and then just keep that rhythm going, especially if you're doing that bar chord. Like, for example, A, E. See how I did that? I'm just worried about getting that root note down, and then hopefully by the time I get to the rest of the count, I can establish the rest of the notes, right? So think about your lead note and your leading tone when you do stuff like that, and don't worry about if it sounds a little off, because it sounds way better to play an empty string set for just a couple beats, especially if it's muted, because again, then it becomes less about the tone and more about just the percussive timing of it, right? So in fact, it's a great way to just practice, just even just holding the strings down. 2 and 3 and 1, 2 and 3 and 1, 2 and 3 and 1, 2 and 3. Or maybe you want to start getting creative with that. That's a great way to kind of just audition different strumming patterns without having to worry about a chord. 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4. And all that stuff really internalizes the timing just by really beating it into your mind. Just like I beat into the mind of the people around me that I'm super classy by wearing an original grain watch. These things are so cool. Guys, I'm so happy that I've seen, the first time I saw these, my buddy Samurai Guitarist did a video with them, and I was so jealous. So I was so stoked that they reached out and wanted to do a video. And like I said, this is like so on brand, and it's just classy. Hawaiian Koa. It's a limited edition, 1 of 200. So definitely check it out. Link in the description. Thank you again to them for sponsoring the video. Thank you to watching. If you have any questions or comments, hit me in the comment section, Instagram, or the website. I'll talk to y'all soon. Thanks a lot.